33 is Roger Clark, 118 Annette McEwen, 13 Ron Pine, 78 is John Maslin, 91 Bernie Johnson, 03 is Terry Landers, and 98 is Alan Denyer. So we have a full field plus one here. A full field plus one in the Treasure Shack B grade invitation, and this should be a very, very exciting event. I can guarantee you plenty of action in this one. Looking for green. Away they go. And it was Jim Pappas who made the best of the start, followed by Jimmy Morris. We used to know him in the HQ Monaro, but now he's out there in a turbocharged Mini, and that turbo's not firing too well at the moment. In car number 2 is John Brown. Oh, there's trouble there for John Bartlett in car 50, but he got out of it all right. And the car certainly not handling for Bartlett at the moment. Our race leader is Jim Pappas. Look at Roger Clark switching through on the inside of Margaret Robertson there. Here's Mick Markham pushing through on the inside of Tony Watkins too. Now the turbocharger starting to get wound up on the little Mini of Jimmy Morris, and he's being pushed along by John Brown in second place. There's a caution going out on Mick Markham at the moment. Plenty of action, I guarantee you action, and that's what you're getting in this particular event, as Jim Pappas leads the race from Jimmy Morris and then John Brown. Look at Roger Clark making his way through the field. Last weekend at the Granville Speedway in Sydney, Roger Clark won his heat of the V8 series. And John Bartlett in all sorts of trouble with the handling on the car number 50 at the moment. Back to our race lead, because the real threat is the XD Falcon of Roger Clark here. He's in third place at the moment, but he's the danger in the car race. Jim Pappas is in the lead. There's Roger Clark, making a quick advantage of the mistake of John Brown, who began to waggle coming down the main straightaway. Here's Clark trying to get through on the inside of Pappas, but the way was shut very quickly. But Roger Clark is the real threat at the moment in the XD Falcon. Pappas is the leader. Clark's trying to find a way through on the inside, but it's not there at the moment. And John Brown starts to pick most of them up again, followed then by Hibbert in 96. Now Roger Clark is going to look to the outside of Pappas. He says the inside's no good. Pappas is not making any mistakes. I'm going to have to try and put the pressure on the outside, but that little trick didn't work then. Pappas is fighting Roger Clark at the moment. Roger Clark going round the outside with Pappas. They're locked up, both of them. Got a touch on John Brown. Roger Clark got away. Roger Clark and Jimmy Pappas fighting away like cat and dog up front there at the moment. And we're going to see what will be the decision of the steward here. The caution flag is coming out. Roger Clark getting things together in the Falcon number 33. There was a little bit of there's the caution flag going out actually on Jimmy Pappas, and Jim's a little at a loss as to what to say there. And well, I kind of think that Roger Clark was leaning in his boot a little too hard too. What do you think down there? Yes, yeah, you and I are right. We're always right, aren't we? The race will continue with 4 laps to go, so this should be a very exciting restart. Roger Clark will try and go hard and fast, otherwise he'll get trapped out on that outside. There's the green. Clark has gone quickly. Pappas on the inside, and Clark, but Clark got the better of it in the XD Falcon. The Ford fans begin to cheer as the XD Falcon goes to the lead. John Brown has squeezed through on the inside of Pappas, so too has Mick Markham and Margaret Robertson, and Ron Pine coming through hard there too. Dave Hibbert got a cloud on the fence. Fred Walker through sideways to miss Hibbert, and he's kept going though. The green light's still on as Roger Clark in the XD Falcon leads the way, and all the action happening up the back of the pack. Dave Hibbert heading toward the infield, though it's not running well for Hibbert at the moment. 2 laps left to go, and Roger Clark in the XD Falcon really hot-footing it now. Then comes John Brown, followed by Mick Markham. Next is Margaret Robertson. Then Tony Watkins, Ron Pine and Jim Pappas, who's dropped right back through the field. But the white flag will wave this time, and Roger Clark has certainly done a great job out front. He's got this Ford really firing nicely. John Brown, a C grader only about 3 weeks ago. Now he's up in the B grade and he's running second. Third place Mick Markham. Fourth is Margaret Robertson. Then Tony Watkins and Ron Pine. But here's the checkered flag for Roger Clark. Second place to John Brown. Third to Mick Markham. Fourth place goes to Margaret Robertson, followed by 19, 13, 118, 22. Then came 91 Bernie Johnson, followed by Johnny Maslin, Alan Denyer, then John Bartlett, Fred Walker and Terry Landers at the rear of the field. Graham Lilford, Camaro. 79 Searle. And the first and second placings from the B grade, Roger Clark and John Brown. So they're the additionals. I repeat, Adrian Anderson, unfortunately, a late scratching, late this afternoon, unable to make it to Newcastle tonight. But still, we've got a top-class field to take place in the opening round of the Newcastle Star Sedan Championship Series, and Peter Wilkinson is in trouble before they roll a lap. Let's keep our eye on Denise and Alan Butcher. There they go. Denise Butcher bounced away nicely. John Pine went through quickly. Alan Butcher went quickly too and pushed away Don McEwen's challenge there. But it's Denise Butcher who's in the lead, hotly pursued by John Pine. And John Pine already looking for a way through. Denise Butcher got high up on the track, and here's a chance for Pine to drive the Commodore through, but no. There's too much power there for Denise Butcher to skip away in the Chevy Corvette. Now she's drifted up high again, and this time John Pine, Denise Butcher got all tangled up there. Everybody slipped past okay. 14 laps to go. Newcastle Star Sedan Championship Series. Away they go. Look at Butcher fly into corner one. Butcher in the Chevy Stingray, but he's too high. Then John Pine in the Commodore dives back on the inside. Butcher decides, okay, away you go, Johnny boy. I'll tuck in behind. John Pine has the running from Alan Butcher. Then comes Don McEwen in the Chevy Monza holding third. Here's John Smith squeezing through on the inside of Peter Wilkinson, and Stu Robertson going with Smithy too as they go into turn one. Let's focus our attention on this big roaring pack behind the race leaders, John Pine, Alan Butcher and Don McEwen, and it's headed up by John Smith, Stu Robertson and Graham Wilford starting to come out of the pack now. Into turn one though, and race leader John Pine from Alan Butcher, then Don McEwen. Let's see what tactics Alan Butcher is going to adopt to try and pick off John Pine as Denise Butcher gets herself in trouble again. The yellow light is on. She backed off all right though, but the yellow light on. The Holden Commodore of John Pine. Away they go. Alan Butcher got the jump this time though, and he tucks it in tight and low. I don't think he'll make the same mistake twice. And Alan Butcher now has the lead from John Pine. There's John Smith going very, very quickly round the outside of Don McEwen to take up third place now. Butcher away from Pine. Then comes Smith, followed by McEwen and Lilford. The only real danger could be perhaps that if John Smith gets past the Commodore of John Pine. There's trouble there with Roger Clark in the Falcon getting the big heave-ho. Peter Garrett was involved in that, and he slowed down to a walk too. Alan Butcher the race leader though from John Pine, and the big V8's having some trouble getting past Pine, who's keeping it down tight and low. Smith, McEwen and Lilford can't get by him, but the advantage was taken by Alan Butcher at the restart, and he's opened up a break. Here's a flying lap time on Butcher, and he's clocking in at 18 and a half. So there's Gordon Cox blown. Gordon Cox in the Datsun at the back of the field's had an engine blown, and Roger Clark has also retired with a flat tyre. Our race leader coming down the main straightaway with Alan Butcher.
And Alan Butcher doing it really well too, away from John Pine. He's opening up a gap now. Smith is breathing right down the neck of Pine, followed by Don McEwen, then coming Graham Milford and Stu Robertson, then Wilkinson from Denise Butcher, who's gained a place or two in front of Maslin, is it O'Reilly in 79, then Brown, and last of all is Peter Garrett, but it's Alan Butcher. Oh, and he went very wide there too. Slowed down to a walk. He came out of that corner very hairily, but Butcher opening up the space between him and Pine. Tussle going on there, midfield between McEwen and Lilford, but it's Butcher away here from Pine, followed by Smith, then McEwen, then behind him is Lilford from Stu Robertson, then Wilkinson, followed by Denise Butcher, Riley, Brown, and then Peter Garrett. Alan Butcher still the leader. Butcher away from Pine. Butcher, Pine slowing down. Pine is in trouble there. Got a little nudge from Smith, but Pine slowed down to a walk right in front of him. And Pine's car is stopping. I'd say Pine's car is slowed to a walk. Yes, sir, and he just can't get out of the road. That allowed Smith to go through now into second place, followed closely by Lilford. Then McEwen. Behind him comes Stu Robertson from Wilkinson, Denise Butcher, then Riley and Brown, followed by Garrett. But John Pine is in bother, and at that pace he's not going to go anywhere, and probably would do more damage than the points he can score. However, the lead car is still Alan Butcher, going past the start timer now, and Butcher opened up an enormous gap over Smith, who drifted a little, allowed Lilford to put the nose up there, but kicked away again. 1 lap to go, and Butcher is catching the slower traffic, but it's Butcher. Alan Butcher leading away from Smith in 41. Behind him comes Lilford, but the Queenslander has it well and truly sewn up, and here he is passing us now. Alan Butcher first. Alan Butcher first. Second place will go to John Smith in 41. Then comes Graham Lilford in 8, followed by McEwen in 10. Then Stu Robertson in 4, Wilkinson in 5, Denise Butcher in 8. Then Riley in 79. Brown finished next, and the last car over the line, Peter Garrett, 51. Great win, first up win, first appearance at the International Motordrome for the 1980-81 season. Officially, the placings: Alan Butcher of Queensland, 41, John Smith, 8 was Graham Lilford, then came behind him 10, Don McEwen, then Stu Robertson, followed by Peter Wilkinson, 8 Denise Butcher, 79 was Riley, 2 Brown, and 51 Garrett. But now let's go trackside for the presentation. Here's Ross.
Thank you, Rod. And taking his helmet off now, and Alan Butcher, that's a very happy return to the Newcastle International Motordrome, straight into the winner's circle.
Just trying a different tyre there on the back of the car, and not having a run on the track. I was a bit nervous about going into that race, but it's certainly good to be back in Newcastle. Peter's still got the best track in Australia, and it's great to be here. Thanks very much.